Hello and welcome to the Stress Mastery Podcast. I am your host, Peggy Romero. So I've had some time off, but I'm back now, and I thank you so much for joining me today. I've been on vacation for several weeks, and I had a really great time. I was in Normandy, France for 9 days, and I never had any idea how interested I'd be in Normandy and all the World War II stuff. I'm not a big TV watcher, but I intend to watch a couple of the war movies that I've always avoided watching before. I just love the history, not just history of people, but history of places and things and all the little villages around. My highlight was going to a place called Mont Saint Michel. They happen to be celebrating their 1000th birthday. So it's this village at the bottom of a mountain, which I think is a handmade mountain, and then a church abbey on top. I'm not exactly sure if it's an island, but sometimes it's completely surrounded by water, like when the tide comes in. I didn't get to see it like that, but I wish I would have. It's absolutely gorgeous at any rate. And it's 1,000 years old. I mean, fascinating, beautiful. I love to imagine the people who once lived there. What was their life like 1,000 years ago? And then imagine the people who built it, all that hard work that they put in 1,000 years ago. What tools did they have? I mean, think about it. So much handwork. Well, anyways, loved it. When I got back from France, I went to New York. It was just short of a week. My cousin's daughter was getting married, and so we decided to go for a few days to the city just to, check it out. We hadn't been there for a while, so we wanted to go check out all the sights. It was fantastic. I love the energy in New York. So one day I walked 37,000 steps, which on my Apple Watch said it was 19 miles. I am so grateful that I can do that. A few years ago, I wouldn't have been able to. I wouldn't have had the endurance or the stamina. So my working out has definitely paid off. I'm so grateful that I'm in much better shape. I lost over 65 pounds, and I've gained lots of stamina. So I know I couldn't have done it before, at least not without a break. I probably would have because I'm kind of stubborn and pretty strong, but I would have needed a break. This time I didn't even think about a break. I sat at a desk for 10 years knowing that I was getting in worse and worse shape, knowing that my health was declining, knowing that I would run out of time and become totally diseased, but still I sat there doing nothing. I wasn't doing nothing. I was working hard and being completely stressed out, being a jerk and living in the red zone. So when I met Bill, I was definitely behind the 8 ball. My blood work was a mess. So I just didn't know how bad off I was. Which leads me to our topic this week of life lessons. There's nothing more important than self-authoring your life. So for me, if I want to be healthy, I have to eat healthy and I have to do healthy things and I have to let go of my unhealthy habits, right? Honestly, you are the author of the next chapter of your life. You're the author of the next page, the next sentence. You're in charge of every moment. You are 100% responsible for creating the life you desire. It took me my whole life to finally figure this out. It doesn't matter who they told you were. It doesn't matter who you were yesterday. It doesn't matter who you were an hour ago, actually. It's never too late to change. It's not too late to become the person that you were always meant to be. And you guys, stress mastery works. It's perfect for this. And it works for everyone. So understanding the function and operation of the human being and then using the understanding to create the life that you desire, it's real. It works. And it's not always easy to do it, but if you do it, it always works. We're all programmed for behavior, and our behavior is dictated by what we hold in mind. 95% of our behavior is dictated by our thoughts. So change your thoughts, change your mind, change your life. It really is that simple. So David talked about it on Tuesday's Health Huddles. We're all exactly the same. So what worked for him can work for all of us. It works for every single one of us. But we have to be willing to do the work. And I think it starts with being present. We have to be willing to allow the feelings to flow through us in order to be able to release them. We have to release the programs. I've found that a gigantic part of this process is in the allowing. We don't want to feel the pain. I mean, all those things that we buried down, the hurt and the pain that we've had in our past, we pushed them down for a reason. That's why they're there. So we're carrying this hurt for so long. But as long as we keep pushing them down, they're going to continue to hurt us. So things hurt a little and things hurt a lot. But until we're willing to let them go, they're going to stay there. So we have to allow them to go through. We have to allow them to release. I've talked about it before. We can't climb the mountain with a backpack full of bricks. It's just too much. It doesn't work that way. We have to get rid of the programming that's holding us back. But living the 7 steps of stress mastery works, and it will change your life. Creating new routines, naming the ego, releasing the programs, and replacing them with programs that serve you. You really can become the person that you want to be. Aligning with your true self instead of the ego, amazing. That may be the biggest life lesson. Part of self-authoring your life, I'm not my ego. It doesn't matter that I lived in the red zone for 57 years. I'm in charge of my own life. It doesn't matter who I was before. The only moment that matters is actually right now. And unfortunately, as we know, most people do live in the red zone. We live in a hectic, chaotic, stressed out world until we decide we're not going to anymore. But unfortunately, most people don't realize that they're in the red zone. They don't take the time to learn. Most people don't think that it's possible to change, so they don't even try. I can tell you, that was me. I didn't have time, and I wasn't willing to try. I was afraid to try. I was afraid to fail. I was afraid to invest time and money into something that probably wasn't going to work out anyways. I didn't think I could do it, so I didn't. So I stayed the same for decades, wanting to change and not knowing how, wanting to be nicer, wanting to be a better person, a better mom, wanting to have peace in my life, and really wanting to not be so stressed out. But I didn't have the slightest idea how to start. So you live your life like Groundhog's Day, one day after another, for perpetuity if you don't change. It's like, it reminds me of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting it to be different. Knowing that if you do it the same way again, it's going to turn out the same. All the while wanting it so desperately for it to turn out differently. So now I finally get it. Nothing changes unless I change. Now that's another life lesson. It's all on you. You're the one that needs to change. Can't try and change somebody else. And we always want to change the other person. I remember I have a friend named Chris, and she's always late. For 20 years, I got mad at her for being late. Honestly, I would feel so disrespected, and I talk to her about it all the time, but she's just always late. And then one day I decided, why am I getting mad when I know she's going to do it? So that was stress mastery before I knew it. I let it go, and I just let her be late. I wanted my kids to change. I wanted my staff to change. I wanted my friends to change. I wanted my spouse to change. All the while, I was the one who really needed to change. Nothing changes unless you change. When you're stressed out like that, like I was for all that time, the energy wake that you leave behind is horrid. It's terrible. You're putting out force and strife and fear and pain and doubt. And that's what you're getting back over and over again. I loved it when we did the book study, A Happy Pocket Full of Money. So I decided to read it again. And we're actually going to be starting a book study. If you're interested, just let me know. You can join us. It's not too late. We're starting probably next week. I have to get with the people who want to do it and see what day we're going to work on it. So I'm not the only one who loved that book, because when I suggested a book study, people hopped right on and said they wanted to do it too. You guys, that book alone can change your life. It helps you reimagine your life. Imagination and visualization. Imagine the life that you want, the life that you desire. What you think you create, what you feel you attract, what you imagine you become. Life lesson. What follows the I am is utmost important. Every word you say matters. Every thought you think matters. You're creating your life by your thoughts. I spent years doubting myself, decades thinking I can't, I shouldn't, or I won't. So maybe I have a lot of catching up to do, which reminds me of another life lesson. Don't live in regret. You cannot change the past. Dwelling on the past is a complete waste of time. Learn the lesson that you were meant to learn from each thing, and then let it go and move on. This is why the let go technique is so important. It is utterly life-changing. You can't move on and be you without letting go of the programming that's been holding you down. I was just talking to a friend the other day. She got divorced about 10 years ago, I think, probably about that. And she said it was her wedding anniversary, and that she had been thinking for the past few days about her marriage and wondering if she should have ever got married. It seemed like such a waste of time to her, she said. Okay, well, she's just in her young 60s, and she was married for 2/3 of her life. What is the sense of wondering if you should have got married? I reminded her of the let go technique, that she had that card written down and that she should probably pull it out and spend some time on it every time the feeling came up, that she should spend some time journaling it out and letting it go. I reminded her about her ego, Rachel, that her ego's trying to keep her stuck. There's nothing we can do to change the past, guys. The only moment we have is now. It doesn't matter if you spent 10 years or 40 years in a bad marriage or in a lousy job or in a crappy relationship. You only have today. You are the author of your life, and you're the only one who can change it. So don't put it off. I mean, procrastination, it's just fear in another package. The ego doesn't want us to change. So you're going to have to be ready to fight for the change. Be prepared, because the ego won't make it easy. And remember, you can't become the new you if you're going to try and bring the old you with you. Those habits don't fit. The old you doesn't have a place in your new life. Of course, you're going to keep the good stuff about you. You're going to keep the programs that serve you. Not everything about you has to change, just the programs and the stories that are holding you back from being who you are destined to be. The programs that replay in your mind over and over, they're in your head saying, I can't, I shouldn't, or I won't. Let them go. I know it's scary to change. I know it's scary to become a new you. Even though it's exciting and you really want to, you just have to stay on task. Set your mind and keep it set. And visualization is amazing. Remember, the person that you're looking at in the mirror today is who you created yesterday. So visualize who you want to be tomorrow, because that's who you're going to become. Might not happen overnight. It might not happen as fast as you want it to, but it will happen. You just have to be bold enough and brave enough to keep it up. Keep on going. Set your light on the mountain and go for it. We always have to be flexible. Don't forget that, because everything's not going to go our way. It's not a magic potion. There's always going to be boulders on the mountain. Just take them for what it is. Learn from every challenge. Know that they'll be there and they're easier to overcome and work around and learn from. So set your mind, keep it set, and don't let the ego talk you into quitting. Like Bill always says, you can't fail if you don't quit. You just try again, right? If you're aligned to your purpose, then you will have it in you to stick with it. You won't have it in you to quit, because you know what you're supposed to be doing. And if you know what you're supposed to be doing, it's so much easier to keep going when you fall down. You just brush off your knees and get back up and get back on the mountain and keep walking to your dream. We all have a dream in our heart. And the more we're connected to that dream, the more aligned we are to our purpose, the easier it's going to be to keep going. So goal setting is really important. You have to be aligned to your true self, not to your ego. Remember, the ego wants you to be in constant competition, like mimetic desire, and the ego wants you to set your goals to be better than somebody else or to have what somebody else has. That's not real. That's not who you are. So make sure that goal setting is a top priority and that you're aligning your goals to your purpose. It was so funny at the wedding that I was at this weekend. Observing my family. So me and my siblings live on the West Coast, and my mom was one of 10 kids. So there's 37 of us cousins on that side of the family, and I don't see them very often. And the last time I was there was 10 or 11 years ago. It was a big party because my aunt, who's been a nun, was celebrating her 70th Jubilee. She became a nun when she was 16. She just had her 80th Jubilee, so I know it was about 10 years ago when I was there last. Well, I hadn't worked with Bill yet or Stress Mastery the last time I was there and hanging out with all these guys, but we're all like the same age. It's funny. We're all like little stair steps in each of the families. So at this party, I was completely engaged. I had so much fun talking, laughing, and dancing all night long. But since I've changed a lot, I also found myself being the observer. And I couldn't believe how many of them are exactly like they were when we were kids. My one cousin actually made fun of me again for being nice. I mean, can you imagine that? I'm happy that I'm nice. She always finds something negative to say about everyone. Whose butt is too big, whose dress is too tight, who doesn't have money, whose hair isn't pretty, whatever. She's almost 60 years old and she's still a mean girl. My other cousin's telling me how mad he is at this other one. And, again, nothing changes unless you change. Some of them just haven't changed. I have a long way to go, but boy, am I happy to realize that I've made some really big changes. It's my heart's desire to help other people create the life that they want, to let them know that life can be different, that we don't have to be stressed out, and we don't have to be mad at the same people 10 years later. It doesn't matter. Who wants to notice the size of somebody else's butt? I mean, seriously, who cares if somebody's hair is messy? It's just crazy. Here's a life lesson. Enjoy the people that you love and accept them for who they are. So I changed, and lots of them didn't. I imagine that I may have responded very differently in these conversations years ago, knowing fully well that if they're talking to me about other people, they're talking about me to other people. This time I just laughed it off. This time I talked to them about forgiveness and things in life that really matter. This time I talked to them about not wasting time being angry with each other and just loving each other. This time I talked to them about not caring what happened 10 years ago and just letting it go and living for right now. Reminding them that the only time that matters is this moment. Not sure that they heard me. Not sure that they thought about it later or what they thought of my comments. But I could see that I'm different, and I'm really grateful for that. I know before I would have got mad at them, which I didn't at all. I just thought it was actually pretty funny. I would have wanted to defend the person that they were talking about or tell them that they were wrong. This time I just laughed it off, and I could just see them, that they're stuck. I seriously stuck exactly how they were when we were in high school together. Number one life lesson, you are the author of your own life. Finally, you have the opportunity to become who you've always meant to be. And you have the tools at your fingertips in the Stress Mastery community. Please don't waste another day of your life. I mean, why not start this moment? Set your day, close your day. Enjoy a repurposed diet that works right for you. Get plenty of exercise. Learn how to master the ego, because this will help you stay in the green zone. The way you deal with stress really does matter. Living in the green zone is amazing, so get lots of sleep, drink lots of water. If you have a bad day, guys, it's okay. If you fall off the wagon or slide down the mountain, just get back up and start again. If you're not already in the community, please go there. You could still get 30 days for free. So go check it all out. All those resources that you need to self-author your life are right at your fingertips. Why waste another moment of your life? You are the author of the next chapter. And it's okay, like wherever you're starting, it's not too late. But I do encourage you to start right now. I thank you so much for listening to the podcast today, and I hope you enjoyed it. You can find me at PeggyRomero.com, and that is it for today's podcast. Remember, our mission here is to create a shift in the planet, and you can join us on the mission by simply like, share, and subscribe. The links are right below the show notes. As always, until next time, stay inspired.